All right, so the pod, it came from 48-hour film festival contest that George brought an idea to Mike and I, and it was just an awesome idea. We really liked it. We really wanted to develop it, and we were just like, "There's no way we can do this in 48 hours. Let's try to get some money and make this a legit film."
We started writing and developing the pod about, like I said, 6 months after our 48-hour film project, and I guess it was like the beginning of February when we started writing, and it ended up being like 6 months after that until we shot the film, and then now it's been another 6 months, and we're just about to release it. So it's been a full year, and it's been a long process. It's been a fun process, and it's been really exciting.
We had a big audition process. Mike and I saw a lot of people. We saw a lot of talent. We both have connections to the agencies, and so we got to see a lot of people. We did Craigslist, and we did all the agencies.
In our original auditions, we actually auditioned people for an earlier version of the script, and it changed after that, and we had to re-audition people. One of the original auditions, Justin was in one of the original auditions, and he came in, and he nailed Belle, like, to the T, and I looked over at Adam after he left, and I was like, "This is the guy."
He told us he was a stage actor, so we were a little worried. But he come in, and I mean, he absolutely nailed it. He came into the scene, and he had so much intensity behind it, and just, I mean, you'll see it in the film. I mean, he carried it the whole way. But even in the audition, we just saw it written all over him. He had this aura about him that he was already that character, and he come in and he started going at it. And then when we asked him to make a change, we were like, okay, let's take this character and let's go this direction with him. Even just in the audition, he took it there, and it was amps above everybody else. I mean, just way above everybody else that we saw. And I mean, as soon as he walked out the door, Mike and I were like, that's it. I don't even want to see anybody else the rest of the day. And we had like 6 more auditions that day. And I was like, that's our guy. I mean, he's perfect.
My name is Justin Hand, and I played Cameron Bell in The Pod. You want me to be honest? Yeah. Okay. So the audition process, I like to do a lot of research before I even go and audition. So I kind of audition the people before I audition. And they had an Indiegogo website, and it was all laid out. Here's the budget. This is what we're going to do and everything like that. And they had this little trailer that just kind of excited me, just seeing that. And so I definitely wanted to audition. And when I went into audition, there were a lot of older men there. So that got me a little freaked out and everything like that. And but when I got inside, and the script at the time had nothing to do with romance or anything like that. It had to do with cats and time travel and killing yourself and your grandfather clause or something like that.
There ended up, like in one of the original drafts, there were like cops in the film, and they were at this hotel, and it was just completely different. And there wasn't Callie in the script in the beginning, and I'm glad that we decided to make those changes, and I think it definitely became a great story after many, many months of writing and redeveloping it.
From the very beginning, Adam Drake and Mike White challenged me because they kind of pushed it. They said, okay, we've seen that. Now they'd give me a little bit of prompt or something like that, and we'd do it again. And so I had a good feeling leaving, but like I said, there were a lot of older guys that looked more like scientists. And then, then I went into depression took a lot of pills and talked to a lot of old friends and made amends on Facebook and everything like that. And then I got a call that I got the role. Then I defriended all those people that I became friends with because I realized that they were leading me down a path of destruction.
We did another round of auditions later on, and Allie came in, and I had auditioned several girls before that, and it just wasn't clicking for the script. And as soon as she came in, though, and because we had already cast Belle, we knew who he was. As soon as she came in, I just felt like their dynamics just clicked together. And me and Adam agreed that it just worked.
It was just a perfect audition. She had, as Mike said, she had a feeling about her. It was just walked in, and we already knew who Belle was, and so she just fit.
Well, I first met Mike and Adam at the audition, and I knew right away they were directors that I had to work with at some point because they put absolutely everything they had into this script, into the crew, into Justin and I, and all the other actors. They were wholeheartedly invested, and were amazing. They were so hands-on. They weren't afraid to get in there and say, look, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we need you to do. And absolutely changed me as an actor. And the way that our dialogue kind of unfolded made me feel more confident in my performance, and I think really brought out the best in myself and Justin. And I think that it's really going to show through in the final product, but they're amazing. They're goofballs.
On the weekend that we shot, it was so crazy. Just the production was really intense. We had really long hours, and just putting through the crew and the actors through that was just crazy. But working with the actors was really cool. It was kind of a weird dynamic with me because I did more of the camera work and more of the like general production. Adam took over more of the directing, the actors part of it. And it was really cool to see that come through while I was, shooting the film and like, seeing the bigger picture, I think. And it was really cool that Adam got to focus just on that.
I think Mike and I were both very happy with the performances that we got in that weekend. We were on a very tight time crunch. We tried to shoot a 30-page script in 3 days, and so that doesn't give you much time for performance. And I'm big on getting the best performance out of my actors, when I'm talking to them, and I really want to bounce back and forth and give them a take where they can do that kind of their own thing, and a take where they can kind of go more where I want them to go, and that kind of thing. And we didn't have a lot of time for that. And I mean, there were so many one takes. I know Mike and I, we were shooting it and we took it, and it was like one take, and we're like, that's good, that's perfect, let's move on. It's like, I hate taking one take, but that's what we got, so that's what we're going with, and it's perfect, and we don't have time, so let's go.
Well, working with Justin really, really was amazing. He has a very profound presence as a person. He's got this very serious intensity about him, which was off-putting at first because it made me really nervous, because Callie and Belle had to develop this really amazing chemistry and a history together, and a fun relationship and a working relationship with a lot of intensity. And Justin made the project amazing because he came very prepared. He knew all his lines. He had a definite feeling about where he wanted to take each scene. And when I read with him, it was always, I had something to go off of. And the relationship just fell perfectly into place where I think everyone wanted it to go. Yeah, he definitely does have this very profound presence to him and an intensity to him that makes him a great actor. And he jumps in head first. And absolutely, once he's on a mark, he's ready to go. And he is that character through and through, which makes my job easy.
So she'll say that I was really intense and everything like that. She was very bubbly and excited, and that can be difficult for me because I'm not a lot of about people and loud noises and things like that. So she's kind of like a party walking down the street. When I met her, I saw that she had this passion and she wanted to learn. You work with actors and actresses, and sometimes they think they got it, and they know how to do it, and they don't work at it to grow. And she was there to learn and grow as well as I was. She was open to just conversation and things like that, and that made it a lot easier to get on the set. Because if you're comfortable off the set and you go and you get in front of the camera, it's a lot easier. And something kind of powerful that happened is because Allie and I had this chemistry on and off, that when we did the more intense scenes or something like that, I felt like it was a friend, that I was losing in that moment. And it was a lot easier to access those emotions than instead of just faking it,
I know everybody says this about their films, and I'm sure they talk about it all the time, but this really was one of the best experiences of my life. I would have to say it is the best film experience I've been on. I mean, this crew was amazing. The cast, the crew, everybody. It was just, as soon as we got there on Friday, everybody was so excited. And I couldn't believe it. We had a 30-plus crew, and all of them were working for free and working their butts off.
Adam and I hired the crew, and I have to say it was one of the best crews I've ever worked with. It was just really fun that everybody got along and worked really well together. And it was just an awesome experience. Like I didn't have to say things twice. Like just things clicked when I asked for things. And I know Adam and I really enjoyed working with people that were so inspired and wanted to work with us.
It's awesome to see that that Mike and I and George come up with an idea and put a script together, and there's enough people that love it to come out and just work their tails off for this film, for this project, for the site that we see, and for them to see that and just work for that for nothing, just to come out and have a great experience and have a good time. And we had such long hours and long days. Everybody should have been frustrated and ticked off. I've been on plenty of sets where people are mad and upset and just at each other's throats that aren't even near as long as the days we were on. But nobody did that. Everybody was so excited and just happy to be there.
I think that's one of the things that made that weekend of shooting the pod like one of the best experiences of my life, because we had such an awesome crew and great actors.
I've only done smaller crew type films, and when I got to the set, I thought, are these people audience members? Because I've never seen that many people. They had this smile on their face the whole time, 14 hours, 16 hours, and they're smiling and they're excited. And there was never this moment where someone, or any sighs or shrugs or anything. And if you are cognizant of what's going on in the scene, especially when you're not in the scene, that can bring you down really quickly. Maybe you guys were able to pick them out or something like that when I wasn't looking, but no one ever had this negativity. It was just very positive energy.
Working with this crew was the best experience I've had in my career so far, because it's an amazing group of people. Everyone was so kind-hearted, and everyone believed in the project and was excited to be there.
Bob was like one of the main ones, and Bob, worked his tail off. Everybody else got to sleep before the weekend and kind of prepare for it. Bob was working to finish the pod before the weekend, so he was the most tired out of anybody. And he come in on Friday, and I was like, he's gonna be so tired. He's just gonna be probably bad to have on set. He's just gonna kind of be in a bad mood and grouchy. And he come on set, and he was the most excited one to see the pod sitting there after Mike and Jake lit it and made it look pretty. I mean, he was just so excited, and I think that just fed through everybody. Everybody was just excited, like, this thing's awesome, this project's gonna be so cool. I can't wait to see this movie. I just wanna put this movie in the can. It's just a good experience. And that energy flowed through the entire weekend.
My name is Bob Ray. I own Acme Industrial Thinking, and we make props and models and all kinds of different crazy things. We built the pod. We were the builders and the makers of the pod. Well, the way it started was I got a phone call from, I believe it was Mike White. It was hilarious. Hey, my name is Mike White. We have this movie that we want to make, and we don't have much of a budget. We don't have much of this, but we really want to do this cool thing called the pod. And no description of it or anything like that. And I got to say, I was very intrigued. Then, of course, when I got together with Adam, I got together with Mike, we all sat down, and there was really no direction for the pod yet. We didn't have an idea that was real clear. We had, it was kind of a Mork and Mindy kind of looking egg sort of thing, and that's sort of where it started. And then it really evolved. They both gave me the ability to just kind of run with it and come up with something and design something. The egg shape kind of carried a lot of baggage, because when you think of the pod, the first thing you think of is an egg shape or something like that. And it looked neat, but we really wanted to get away from that, wanted to do something where it was a machinery that would look not otherworldly, but something that this guy made kind of in a garage or in a warehouse. And we wanted it to look accessible to other people. We wanted, technology that somebody would understand. They could look at it and go, oh, hey, wait a minute, that kind of makes sense. And we thought the egg shape would get a little too alien or a little too out of this world, and bringing it down with the canopy pop, that cracked open and all that. It just had a neater look to it. Then it was just going as hard as we could. Once we got the design done and we had everything pretty much the way we wanted it, the design process started, cutting the parts started, and then it was 10 days of intense getting the thing put together, and it was something else. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do. The 10 days leading up to that, Mike actually came up and stayed with me out at our farm, and so Mike and I would go in pretty early in the morning, but we were usually pushing out about 18-hour days, and right there at the end, the last 3 days that we were working on it, we were pushing out about 20-hour days. And by the time we got done, I was so tired. you weren't even tired anymore. You kind of got past the gross feeling and all that good stuff like that. And we knew that we were going to have a flip schedule. So, man, I got there on Friday. We got the pod in. We got it on location, got it in that room. I just got amped, completely amped. It was so cool to see that thing sitting in place and to see all the lights on it and to see it for the first time, not in the studio and not in the back of a pickup truck and not, and together. That was something else. That's what gave me all that energy. That's why I was so jazzed to be there. And there's a lot of excitement when you're on set like that. There's a lot of everybody's excited. Everybody that was there was excited. That made it a real unique experience because, there wasn't a person there that complained about anything. I don't ever remember hearing anybody really complain about anything. And that first night, I was really tired, but I didn't care. I was ready to see this thing being used. And when the actors came in and you guys got to see it for the first time, that was really something else for me too.
Oh my gosh. The pod is amazing. The actual pod, I don't know how they did it. We had to wait to get in it when we first got to set. It was like the cool toy that everyone wanted to touch, and Mike White was like, you have to wait. Just wait. You can get in there in a little bit. It's going to be hot. You can wait a few minutes. It's amazing. I wish that everyone could take a turn hopping in the pod because it's got all the cool buttons and the leather seat and the lights. And I was blown away when I saw it when we first came to set because that's the first time that we did get to see it is our first day on set. And it is a beauty. It's very elaborate, very cool. And when I finally got to climb in it, I felt like a kid in the toy store. I was pushing all the buttons and looking around, and they definitely had to work to get my attention, to get me to focus. But yeah, it's awesome.
The day that Bob brought in or when we were introduced the first day when they kind of kept us at bay for a little bit, and then we finally got to see the pod. And I think that just put it to the max. Just this, wow, I'm part of this, and that's what it felt like the whole time. I'm part of this, just a piece of it, and that was a humbling experience. And what's great about the fact that Bob was there is that it was his machine. He built it, and I was able to kind of pull that joy that he had for that machine into the character. Like, this is what Cameron Bell has created, and this is why he's so proud of it, because hearing him talk about it and everything like that, and it was all positive.
Well, I was super excited when I got the script from Adam when I went to audition because I'd never played this kind of character before. Callie is Belle's assistant. She's a really interesting character because she's extremely dynamic. And I hope that's something that comes through. She's very, very intellectual. She's very intelligent. She's on the ball. She is a scientist, and she's this super smart girl, but she has this other side to her that kind of like completes her being dynamic, where she's also social. And it plays really well off of Belle's character because he's such an introvert and he doesn't really know how to keep their dialogue going, and there's this kind of unspoken feelings between them. And that was what I was really excited about with Callie, is having to be the instigator of a relationship and having a lot on the line with her relationship with Belle, because they have a working relationship and they're old friends, and there's these feelings that she has there, and it's this huge risk of putting herself out there for him. And I think that the most challenging thing about playing Callie was trying to communicate her feelings for Belle and how she has to keep that repressed to maintain their relationship, but also simultaneously having to spell it out for him so he knows, because she's tired of being in this place with him where there's the elephant in the room. Is there the elephant in the room? Kind of thing. So having to be the instigator but walk that fine line and also have this really smart, brainy side to her. It makes her a really interesting character, and Justin made it really easy because he gave me this really beautiful contrast, and he played Belle perfectly, beautifully, and it made it really fun to have to pull him out of that shell and create this history that we don't get to see in the movie, but we know is there.
Allie and Justin both grabbed onto those characters, pulled them in, and made you really feel like they were there. I think a lot of short films really suffer in acting, and ours definitely didn't have that problem. I think that we had a great set of actors, and that really brought our story across that Mike and I wanted to tell. And it showed people these characters, and I think that they can really relate to these characters, even though it may be futuristic and it may be, a little different from our world today. You can still totally relate to these characters inside of this futuristic movie. We worked in extreme conditions. I mean, we worked in July. It was super hot. We did work at night, which helped. We wouldn't have made it during the day because we were in these buildings with no air and no AC and lots of heat. And then our last scene, our final scene that you'll see in the film, is a waterfall scene. We didn't shoot that weekend because we didn't have time. And so we actually didn't do that until about November or December. I think it was November. We took Justin out to Rock Island and shot that whole scene in the water. So we're talking water is freezing. It was a very cold day. I'm sure it comes across in the film, he's shaking because the water is so cold, and that guy doesn't have any meat on him. So Justin was a true trooper from beginning to end. He went from the hottest conditions to the coldest conditions in the entire film. He got to experience it all. And he come away strong and didn't complain once, and wanted to get his character across and just be the best he could be in the film. And I think he did a great job of that.
Working with Justin was really fun. Allie was saying that he has a very intense persona, and when he's on camera, like right before the scene, he's very like in his own mind. And as soon as the scene starts, he like jumps out of that and he's the character, and that was really fun seeing that come to life. Working with Allie was really fun. I fired her multiple times during the shooting, and she took that well. She usually came back, and
Can we talk about this for a second? Can we just talk about Mike White firing me every 5 minutes? I'd be like, Mike, I need to go to the bathroom. He's like, okay, you're fired. I was like, Mike, can you make sure I look really pretty? You're fired. All the time.
I mean, she kept asking me these questions, and I was like, I don't have time for this. Nobody got time for that.
In the final cut of the pod, I'm not even in it. Callie does not make an appearance.
I don't
He
think
fired
that's...
me in retrospect.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah. Yes, this interview was like a consolation interview. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, you're fired.
I'd say one of the coolest things about working on this project is the fact that we had two directors. Adam Drake and Mike White were amazing as individuals, and I think even greater as a pair working together. And it can get hectic when you're receiving from two directions instruction, but these guys have it down. They've got a great working relationship because Adam would step in when he would see something and that maybe Mike didn't see. Mike would step in when he saw something that maybe Adam didn't see. So together, they're like a superhero alliance of directing. Superhero alliance. Did you get that?
From the moment I met them, they were both very intense, and I don't want to put them both in the same because they're very different. Adam's more the talkative. Mike kind of sits back and he kind of absorbs the information. And in the audition process, I couldn't read them because there was this dichotomy going on and trying to, okay, well, did they like what they saw or did they not like? Is that just small talk or something? But when we got on to the set, I realized that Adam was going to be the first person that I spoke to, and if something wasn't working out, then Mike would step in, and then they would powwow. But what was amazing about working with two directors that had both put so much into it is there's never a moment where they tried to put their foot down and say, I want it done this way, or I want it done this way. There was just this symbiotic relationship, this agreement constantly. And I mean, there might have been a moment or something like that, at hour 18, hour 19 or something but they didn't allow the actors to sense that stress or that anxiety or something like that. Maybe they went into a room and they cried themselves to sleep. I don't know. I heard something about a pool party. I wasn't invited.
It was just simple. I mean, we'd worked together several times. We know exactly what each other want. We've kind of figured each other out on set by now. And we already have a really good close working relationship on set that just kind of bounces off each other, especially as a director and a DP. And this really, us being both the directors, didn't change anything in our relationship. It was still that same relationship. We still had that bouncing off each other because as a director, even when he's just the DP, I like to get ideas from him anyways, from a directing standpoint. And so this was no different than any other film. Honestly, it's just to change the name on the credits. But in the end, really, Mike's doing the same thing. He's helping me out directing. He always does. And we both know what we want, and and in the end, it always ends up being the same thing when it comes to a film. We want to entertain and we want to tell a story.
We had done so much pre-production that we were on the same page the whole time. And if I forgot something, he remembered, and if he forgot something, I remembered. And that's some things that, like, when you're shooting a movie, like, one person forgets and that's it. But we had a backup on this film, and it was really cool.
George, Mike, and I put this script together and the pod, and it comes to screen, and I think it comes away with a lot of things. It comes away with a story about love and sacrifice, and honestly, the film does kind of end open-ended. We like it like that because it's got potential to be a feature. Obviously, this is a short 25 minutes. It's got potential to be a feature, and we just kind of wanted to dive into those characters and meet somebody new, and I felt like we really did that. And it was a little different from other films in the fact that we got to add that fun, that sci-fi thriller aspect of it, and the cool techie stuff that you would see in a lot of other movies, and it was cool to add that. On top of that, we brought in a good story.
I think the heart of the story for the pod was sacrifice. And that's a big part of my life, I think, and something that I draw on a lot when I'm writing. And I think in this film, that was really the backbone and the heart of the story. And I think to just add some sci-fi in there and to make it really cool, like cinematically, that's just like two worlds of mine just coming together. And it was really cool to make that film.
So on the last night, on Sunday night, most of the crew actually had to be at work Monday morning. So a lot of the guys left at like 1, 2, 3 a.m. And so we shot, I think, until 5 or 6 in the morning. And by that time, we're down to about 5 or 6 in the crew total. And Justin, of course. Justin made it all the way to the end. And we were literally doing the last shot of the entire film. And Justin, we were in between takes. We're fixing something. We're fixing a light or something. And Justin's laying down on some mats, about to fall asleep. And all of a sudden, he just pops up and he goes, "I get it." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, "I get the movie." I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So my actor, the entire film, has had no idea what's going on and just now finally gets it. It was pretty amazing that he finally got it in the last shot of the entire film. He finally got our film. So hopefully our viewers get it sooner than that. Maybe they'll get it by the end of the movie so they can enjoy it. Two bells.
Wait, what?
So the answer in the end is there's 2 bells, and then there's one. And then there's one that's looking for Allie. He finds the bird. There's Allie, maybe. So if you give us more money, then we'll make this an entire film, and it'll be easy to get. You'll understand the whole thing. Come here, you guys. Please. Oh, it's so good, so good. Mike, come in on this.
Come on.
Okay. No, Mike.
He can't help me. I'm sorry.
I'm editing effects right now.
He's got to get the effects done.